Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So just kind of what was the main focus in general today for practice? Obviously just coming off the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was really just film, and then we just went through film, and then that was it with the first group. Stayed with some of the younger players, but I think really just started with our transition defense. So got to do a much better job containing the leak outs. I think it was JC Sheldon alone had 10 points just off leak outs going right away. So we've got to be a lot more disciplined with our transition habits and what we emphasize there. I think a lot of those were tough because we were missing so much at the rim and in the paint, which are pretty good shots. And I think once you miss those, it's really hard because you're straight away kind of at a disadvantage in transition. So I think obviously if we made more of those, it would have helped us get our defense set a lot more. Um, Offensively, I think overall we did some good things playing against their pick and roll covers. So the intentions were right. We were looking for the right things in terms of what we emphasize playing against, those types of pick and roll defense. So we're more looking at how we can clean up some other areas offensively, just in terms of timing, positioning, a little bit of some of our non-pick and roll related actions. And then just really was our pick and roll covers in terms of how we make sure we're doing a better job containing slips. And then just a lot of it was going away from our pick and roll basics in terms of we didn't have good ball pressure. We weren't arriving on actions. So because we were so far off the body, it was really tough to stay in neutral.
In the second half in particular, what did the Sky do defensively that maybe made it tougher for you guys to make shots, or was it more of just you felt like they were good shots, but they just weren't falling?
Yeah, I do think the shot making was part of it. And then I think it was more them getting out in transition, which was hurting us the most. So I felt like we were doing some good things offensively against our half court defense. It was more the other stuff, which was hurting us more.
And
Yeah.
then points in the paint, I know you just kind of mentioned it as well, but obviously that was a big differential.
Yeah.
Where would you like to maybe be able to score more within the paint if that's a philosophy for you? And then on the other side, just kind of emphasizing again,
Yeah.
even just like, with the Camilla, Elizabeth Williams, stuff like that, how you can contain that a little more.
Yeah. So first I thought we did a good job on Cardoso and Williams. In terms of how we were defending post ups, etc. Is the pick and roll stuff where there was a little bit of slippage just in terms of the slips and they're exploring us at the point of attack with our pick and roll. So that's gonna be better tomorrow night. We're gonna clean that up for sure. What was the first part of the question?
The first part was the
The paint
the
shot,
paint.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, looking back at them, I thought we got a bunch of good looks. And the emphasis really is trying to get as deep into the paint as we can. If we get to like the elbow, three throw line, and we're wide open, we're gonna take that shot. But if we're not, it's how can we take a contested early paint shot and maybe turn that into a less contested rim finish if we continue to advance and don't settle for like an early pull. So yeah, and I think it's important because the more of those you miss in the paint, the more you're running back on transition, the more you're at disadvantage. So it is correlated in terms of, I think, the more threes we take, the more rim attempts we take, it's easier to get our transition defense set.
What stood out to you most about the Sky yesterday? Obviously, they've had some of their own struggles, but what maybe came as a surprise, or just what stood out?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's tons of experience on the roster, and they wanted it a lot, and it was evident. So I think, Diggins, Cloud, they stepped up in key moments, especially in that third quarter, just in terms of coming off the pick and roll, and they were shooting really well from the mid range. So yeah, a lot we learned from that, and I think it's great that we get to go again tomorrow and kind of put the learnings into action.
And then just on your side, who stood out to you the most still in terms of maybe just the effort that they were putting out, the looks that they were trying to create, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I thought team wide, I thought it's tough to single anyone out. I think there was some good performance, but I'd say it wasn't. We can play a lot better. So I'm not gonna praise anyone. We got high standards, so I'm not gonna single anyone out. And then let's see how we do tomorrow night because we will want to play better and feel better about game two.
And then just last one, what are some of the benefits and maybe some things you dislike about having to play a team back to back like this?
No, I think it's great. You know, we had this earlier in the season with New York. This is great for us. Get just the ability to can we go from seeing something in film in a film session, and then can we go and apply it and make sure in the chaos of the game we're actually doing the things we're talking about on the scout. That's going to help us, when we're talking about making deep playoff runs in the future as part of this long-term strategy. It's like these really are the only chance you get to work on that.
Mhm.
So really important for us to see, how players are able to apply all the stuff we're talking about today and put it into action tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
Great to
appreciate
meet
it.
you.
Nice meeting
Thank
you.
you.